InfiniHex. This is the testnet contract, and I just entered with 100 hex. First I put 100 here, I hit approve, I wait for that transactions to go through, and then I hit enter. And so because I entered with 100, I'm holding 50 hex 5. So the way this works is, unlike hex 2 and hex max, this contract pays out regardless if users interact or not. So on hex 2 or hex max, it's required for other players to get in, to get out, to stake, to unstake, in order for me to earn rewards. On this contract, 40% of whatever I enter is put into the reward pool, and as long as I'm in the contract, I am eligible to receive a daily amount of hex. So this daily amount comes from the reward pool, and also 5% instant rewards. So for instance, on hex 2 there's a 10% fee, whereas it's distributed to all the hex 2 holders. Well, on this contract it's 5%. 5% is distributed to all the holders of InfiniHex based on how much you hold, and 40% is put into the reward pool to pay out 2% a day as long as I'm in the contract. So when I eventually get back another 50 hex and I get back my 100 hex that I originally put in, and I'm still in the contract, I'll still be eligible for this daily drip regardless if anyone does any transactions. And if anyone does do any transactions, there's a 5% of that transactions that gets distributed to all the players in the game. And that's InfiniHex. You know, the sauce of this contract is being able to receive that daily pool share. And of course, the more players or the more shares are in the contract, is the less my rewards. So I can come down here and I can roll to increase my share or maintain my share over time. But the point is to get in the contract, and it takes, let's say, 30 to 90 days to get back what I originally put in. And then after that, I am completely in the profit. Now, so let's look at the fees. So what are the fees? 50% entry fee, 40% to the reward pool. So pretty much this 40% isn't a fee because it goes to the reward pool, and as long as I'm in the contract, I'll be getting it back. 5% instant rewards distributed to all the players based on how much you hold. So, you know, this 45% is really all just for the players in the game. It's distributed to all the players. So it isn't a fee per se, right? 1% referral. Now, if there's no referral, then the 1% goes to the instant rewards. So it could be 6% instant rewards if there's no referral. 2% goes to stable ETH, which is great. This is another great thing because it can go to the players, meaning that if you have a share in stable ETH contract, you can get 2% is distributed to anyone holding in stable ETH, which everyone who is playing in Hex should have some stable ETH as savings. Think of stable ETH as an insurance policy against something bad happening to Hex, right? That's the way I think of it, right? Because like you could be all in on a Hex and it falls apart and you have nothing to show for it. Well, if you have some ETH and stable ETH, you won't feel that bad, right? So I would say, a percentage of everything you earn from Hex. If you're earning ETH from Hex, you take that, you put it into stable ETH as an insurance policy against, suicide. If so you won't kill yourself if Hex falls apart, right? 1% goes to the inflation on Hex Max. The price of Hex 4 goes up every time someone goes into this contract. 1% goes towards that inflation. 1% to the dev. 10% exit fee. The interesting thing about this exit fee is that you don't want to exit this contract all at once, because if you do that, you won't get a part of this exit fee. So to exit this contract, I recommend doing a little bit at a time over a long period of time. That way, I am getting a part of the exit fee via the 40% reward pool. Whenever I exit the contract, there's less holders, so that means my share should go up. Now, anyone who exits the contract, there's less holders, that means my share of this reward pool goes up, right? So the whole idea is to stay in this contract, especially when others are exiting. Now, I feel like exiting will be a thing on this contract because Hex is volatile, right? And Hex goes up a lot, there's going to be exiting on this contract. Hex goes down a lot, there could be exiting, but I don't know. I know there's more exiting when Hex goes up because you want to sell that Hex, right? Strong holders generally don't exit when something goes down because they're just ride or die, right? So, but Hex going up means exiting on the contract, and if you don't exit and others exit, or if you're exiting a very small amount at a time, then you're going to benefit from that 10% fee as it gets distributed in the reward pool, because 9% of that goes to rewards and 1% goes to the dev. And there's a 1% transfer fee if you want to transfer your InfiniHex to a different address. Oh yeah, so you can stake on this contract, of course. And when you end your stake, the fees apply. So if I earn 100 Hex on a stake, I would only get 50, and the other 50 goes towards the reward pool. So staking is cool on this contract. I would say do short-term stakes. That's what I recommend for any of these contracts to get the most out of it. Is do short-term stakes, 7-day stakes, 10-day stakes. But of course, if you're a baller and a long-term view type of person, or if you're a massive whale, you're gonna do that 3,000-day stake. That's your flow, right? I don't think any of those long-term stakes are gonna go all the way through. I think they either. I just don't see it happening, man. I see all of those stakes ending it early earning early, right? At least after big payday, like within months after big payday. Those 3,000-day stakes and $1,200, I think they're all gonna end. So, but that's InfiniHex and stable ETH. A very interesting way to go. And so that's the flow, and this is the test net. So let's see. So I entered with 100 Hex. I have total 50 Hex 5 unstaked, and I could come down here and I can stake it for 10 days. All right, and Ethereum fees are are high, but I'm used to it now. I'm just gonna accept it. Like when I look at blockchain and everything that's going on in blockchain, the chains that have low fees don't have anyone using that chain. Like no one's using the chain. There's nothing to earn on that chain. You're just losing. So cheap fees is like, it's like, what does it matter if I'm not going to gain anything anyway, right? It's just like water with no. It's like drinking air. At least if you have water with sugar in it, it's a little bit more fun, right? And that's why I look at Ethereum. Like, yeah, the fees are high, but hey, there's stuff going on, man. There's always something going on. It's like, anyways, I don't want to preach about that. I'm only in Hex 2 right now, and I just entered into stable ETH, and I am seriously considering going into this contract with 1 million Hex. I'm gonna make a decision at the last minute. I'm just like, I'm open to that idea, but my decision is gonna be made like maybe 30 minutes before the contract actually launches. And that's nice flow. I'm in stable ETH because I'm all for this contract doing well, because as long as anyone who's in stable ETH contract is going to benefit from InfiniHex doing well.